Hello, welcome to Cybersecurity class, and we'll be discussing ethical hacking and penetration testing. Ethical hacking and penetration testing. And with this, we will look at the concept of ethical hacking, the legal and ethical consideration in hacking. We will look at the phases of ethical hacking, information gathering and reconnaissance, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing methodologies, and reporting and documentation. This module will actually help us to be able to explore ethical hacking and penetration testing, which is proactive cybersecurity approach that simulates cyber attacks to identify vulnerabilities before malicious exploitation. And let's go into understanding ethical hacking, which is the core concept. And ethical hacking is the authorized practice of identifying and exploiting vulnerabilities to be able to improve security. And it's a proactive approach to discover weakness before malicious attackers. And when we look at the meaning, it's actually identifying the vulnerability and misconfiguration, and this grants access to existing security control, and the purpose is to prevent data breaches and financial losses, and also to support compliance and risk management. And we have types of hackers. We have white hat hackers who are authorized security professionals. We also have the black hat hackers who are malicious for personal gain or sabotage. And then we have the gray hat hackers, and this gains access without permission, often exposing vulnerability information. Informally. And we have scope of ethical hacking, and the first is network of and infrastructure, and this deals with evaluating the security and network devices and configurations for web and mobile application, which is another scope of ethical hacking. This is testing for vulnerabilities in software applications, and there is also cloud environments as a scope, which is assessing security in cloud-based system and services. And the last one is wireless network, that is identifying weakness in Wi-Fi, security, and access points. Let's look at the legal and ethical boundaries. While ethical hacking aims to improve security, it must be conducted within strict legal and ethical boundaries. And unauthorized hacking, regardless of intent, can result in serious legal consequences. And this, when looking at the legal consideration, the first thing is authorization, which is written consent, is mandatory. And another is defined scope. There is need to adhere to agreed boundaries. Also, another legal consideration is compliance, which is following national and international laws. And the last one is liability, which is understanding legal responsibility. And we also have the ethical principles, and this is confidentiality, that is protection of sensitive information. Another is integrity, which is ensuring accurate and honest results. Also, non-maleficent, which is principle, which is avoiding intentional harm. And last one is responsibility, which is acting in the organization's best interest. We have phases of ethical hacking. When we talk about this, we have 6 phases. And this is reconnaissance, which means gathering information about the target system. And the next phase is scanning and enumeration, which is identification of live system, of open ports, and also services. The next is gaining access, which is exploiting vulnerabilities to be able to gain unauthorized access. The next is maintaining access, and this deals with accessing persistence and privilege escalation. The next is covering track, which is analyzing how attackers might evade detection. And the last one is reporting and documentation. And this deals with documenting findings, risk, and recommendations as it's detected. Now, looking at information gathering and recognition, recognize. This foundational phase collects insights without direct exploitation, reducing uncertainty and improving attack simulation accuracy. And um, reconnaissance involves collecting information about a target system to one, identify potential vulnerability, to be able to understand system architecture and technologies used, to be able to reduce uncertainties and improve attack simulation accuracy. And we have the types, which include passive and active. The passive reconnaissance is a gathering of information without direct interaction. And the active reconnaissance is direct interaction with the target in terms of ping sweep, port scanning, and it provides accurate information, but it's higher detection risk. Let's look at vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. And for this process systematically identifies and exploits weakness to improve security posture. And for vulnerability assessment, it is the identification and analyzing and prioritizing of security weaknesses. And it focuses on discovery and escalation. And this can be seen in terms of network-based, which is open ports, insecure services. Another is host-based, which is the operating system, the software, and configuration. And the last is the application-based, like SQL, injection, the XSS. And for penetration testing, it's actually unauthorized attempts to exploit vulnerability, demonstrating real-world attack scenario. And these include black box, which is no prior knowledge, external attacker simulation. We also have the white box, which is full system access, and the gray box, which is partial knowledge, limited access threat simulation. It's limited access threat simulation. Looking at the reporting and documentation, it's critical outcome of ethical hacking, translating technical findings into actionable insights for stakeholders. And the purpose of reporting is actually to, one, communicate findings to stakeholders, to also support risk management and decision making, to also guide remediation and improvements, to guide remediation and improvement. And key report components include the executive summary, which is the high-level overview of everything. And also we have the key area of findings and risk rating. It deals with vulnerabilities and severity. And the last is the remediation recommendation, which is practical steps that are needed. In conclusion, the module has been able to emphasize that ethical hacking is a proactive, authorized strategy that is being used to be able to identify and fix vulnerabilities and before they are exploited and by malicious actors. Unlike illegal hacking, this professional practice is strictly governed by legal consideration, divining, divine scope, and ethical integration, ensuring that testing remains both lawful, and safe. Thank you for listening.